Testing.
1, 2, 3. Is that better? Good? We good to go? Turn it down now. What do you mean say? But
to go ahead and get started with our live preview here. Thanks for everyone that's came out tonight to watch. Those of you watching on the internet, we appreciate y'all tuning in also. We're going to run through these things here real quick. We're going to start off, and we're going to go in breeder order here. We're just going to go down with the breeder list of how we're pinned here in the barn. I'm going to introduce the pigs to you guys, tell you what they are, where they're from, and then I'm going to let Aaron Cobb and Chris Hofschulte sitting here beside me. I'm going to let them describe them to you, what they're seeing and what we're looking at here. So just real quick, I want to say thank you to all these breeders for bringing a really nice setup here to Fayetteville to the Brotherhood gathering, and just for having the faith to come up here and sell these things and offer you guys a really nice set of hogs here. So tune in, see what we got going here, and we'll get started with these things. We're going to start off here with Gary Todd Show Pigs. In the ring right now, we've got Lot 3, which is going to be a Berkshire Gilt. She is a special effect on an OLT. And then we've also got Lot 17, 17-2, and it's a litter mate right there. So litter mate gilts here from Gary Todd. I'll let the guys describe them.
Well, I think extremely nice, high-quality pair here. When you evaluate this pair of litter mate gilts, for anybody who saw special effect in person or who have now seen the offspring the Berkshire offspring that have sold out of that guy, I don't think anybody's going to be too disappointed to be showing one of these. I think this pair is actually very, very close. I think you can see some advantage maybe to 3, and maybe talk on another side. I can maybe argue that this Lot 17 has a few things about her that you certainly like. Extremely heavy structured. I think the Lot 3 is just so high quality, so immature. Study the way that one hits the ground, all 4 feet all the way around. She's just so incredibly comfortable. Love the immature skeleton that she has. Reads like one that's just going to feed. We've fed a few hogs from this firm there at my place, and they do just feed and get better. I don't really think you could go wrong here. It's not necessarily. I may just kind of set back and see what happens here with this pair, because I think this second one in is going to be awfully good as well. Really nice pair. I don't know if Chris has anything to add to that.
Gary told me that the boar here would be the Albright boar that brought 140,000 there at Expo, right? And then the sow would be the sow that he bought out of Built the Brand. And you look at, both these things. They're both just completely good in their skeleton. That dash 3 there, her front end assembly is so good. The angle of her blade, the set to her knee, and her pasture's on point. Hip and hind leg. For this particular breed, even the 17, is on point in terms of muscle shape at this particular stage in the game. And Gary said, this sow's last litter definitely hit a home run also. You wouldn't expect anything else, out of this firm. They do an awesome job on every season, and just always bring, good ones to the sale. They wouldn't bring you anything else. Something that's just elite. Very good pair of gilts once again.
All right, Gary's coming in with his next one. He's going to be Lot 18. This is a Berkshire Bear out of the same litter there. So Berkshire Bear out of Special Effect, crossed with OLT coming in. Gary's going to bring his other lot in, his cross gilt there. Lot 38, ear notch 10-6. She's going to be a dare to compare on a gangster. We're going to let Chris start this pair off.
Obviously, the Berkshire Bear there would be a litter mate. One that's really stout skulled, maybe a little stouter headed than what the gilts were. One that looks like he's going to get really burly on down the road. A really big rib type of a pig. That litter looks like, I didn't get to see the rest of them, but that was a very consistent litter, though, just the 3 that we've seen here. And the crossbred gilt there. One that's a little more immature, but you study that thing's skeleton. Length of hip. The way her tail sets on top of her hip. That thing looks like a feeder's dream. One that's just so elevated, really extended ahead of her blade. The front end assembly's very, very good. Just looks like she's going to see better days on down the road. One that's just going to get better every day.
I agree 100% with what Chris says there, and I think one thing you got to think about all the way through the process here. Obviously, this pair and more that are going to be coming, and that is that it's never a bad thing for one to go home and get better and continue to get better every day. And I read this this little crossbred gilt to be one that is going to get better every day of her life. Extremely good footage, strong pastern, still has shape and dimension. I think that one just gets real good before it's all said and done, and I don't think it takes an expert to get her right either.
That was Gary Todd Show Pigs entries there. I want to take just a quick second and say thank you to Gary for bringing a really good setup here. Always good to have Gary in the barn. He's always does a great job raising hogs and getting these hogs out to in good families' hands and kids' hands. So, again, thank you, Gary, for coming out and bringing a really nice set. Coming in next, we've got Lyndon Califf with Califf Show Pigs. He's going to bring in his lot 5 here. This is a 6-9 crossbarrow. This is a next to nothing on a visionary, and we're going to let Aaron talk this one.
Well, I don't think there's a lot that I can sit here and tell you that I don't think you can probably see and evaluate on the video there. I mean, I think this one is a dead on in terms of the way he's made out of his hip and rear leg. He's got a tremendous rib cage. This hog has a big square back, but he's still flexible and youthful in his spine. He takes a big long step and stride off of both ends. I love how he reaches and goes out of his front end in particular, yet he don't get too flat. He don't get down on his feet. He stays strong there. A lot of confidence in this, and obviously pedigree to back it up. I think this one's awfully nice one to have here to offer.
Boy, you just study this one. I mean, from his nose to his tail, I mean, everything reads stout. I mean, his indicators, I mean, that thing has got a stout mug, and everything correlates. Test. There we go. Definitely, I mean, like I said earlier, I mean, he's a little bigger than what the 3 we've seen or the 4 we've seen earlier, but I mean, you study that thing from, I mean, just starting at the front. I mean, that thing's got a stout mug, and everything correlates from there back. I mean, got a bold blade, a huge chest, a round forerib, a big tail root, and a big pin set. And you study him at the ground. I mean, everything's right. I mean, his flexibility to his toes and his lower joints is on point. That's one that's definitely it's going to be something that'll get better on down the road. One that be one that'd be fun to feed on down the road. Once again, thank you for bringing something such elite to this particular sale. It's a really nice barrow.
All right, coming in next is Califf's second entry here. It'll be the round 2. This is going to be a lot 23. This is a crossbred gilt, 11-7, Believe in Me, cross with Breaking Rules.
Boy, you just listen to that pedigree, and that just screams show pony. And he look at this pig, and that's definitely what he is. The way his neck rises out of his blade is really good. And for something that, I mean, for a neck to rise that high out of their blade, I mean, the thing's front end assembly is still very good. His blade sets right on his body. The set to his knees very good, and he still moves with very good reach out of his front end. hip and hind legs on point. Once again, another one that looks like one that'd be very, very easy to feed.
Well, once again, I agree 100% with that, and I was just thinking as he was talking about him that, you know, obviously this is a bigger barra than the pigs we had in here before. But this is a bigger barra that's still going to go home and get better and feed. When their rear leg is built like that and they have that bend and flex, those are the kind that you don't mind to go look at every day, and you're not constantly trying to figure out how to keep them together. You just get to feed them and watch them mature, and it becomes a lot more enjoyable. I think a really, really nice one.
Correction on that when we said gilt there earlier, that is a crossbred barrow. He'll be listed as that in the sale order. Coming in next is Calif's third round. It's going to be another crossbred barrow. This is the gilt. We got those backwards in the deal there. So crossbred gilt, this is lot 42, 10-2. This is a next intentions on a breaking rules.
Hey, I don't know much, but I know the difference in a barrow and a gilt. I can get that figured out, Mabry. But no, I think another extremely nice one here. I mean, this one reads with tremendous back shape, maybe a little harder back shape than the last one in comparison. We talked about just how flexible and how correct that one is. This one is really, really impressive. When you get right over the top of her, study the crisp shape she has, the roll and the turn that she has in her rib cage, and yet she's still comfortable on her feet and legs. And another one that reads with the immature kind of skeleton, it just looks like it'll get better as she matures. Really strong feet. I think really correct off of both ends. Again, with tons of shape, one that just gets better and better. I'll let Chris comment on her as well.
I don't know. You just studied the pedigree there. Next intention, breaking rules. That just screams sow to me. You study that one's skeleton. I mean, the angled her blade and the just the way her rear end is assembled is very, very good. She's got a big tail root. Her mug's stout. That definitely looks like one that not only can make a show gilt, but a sow on down the road that could lay down and do something for someone in someone's program.
Real quick, just on the Calif family there. If you don't know those guys, they're from Nebraska up there, and it just, you talk about super good human beings to be around. That would be that family in general right there. Lyndon, you know, I would put that dude, if we had a 30 under 30 in the show pig world, that dude needs to be in it. He's a class act every day of his life. Does everything right, and you talk about being pretty sharp with show pigs. He's got it in spades right there. Just a great family who really brought a great set. We appreciate him being here and coming down from Nebraska to be with us. All right, we're going to switch gears here and we're going to run in the cob stuff. We're going to be here talking about these. We're going to run these in one at a time and get rolling on these here. All right, coming in first is going to be lot 34. This is a crossbred barra, 244-1. It'll be a dark cross, zoned out on a hush puppy. We'll let Chris start this one.
Boy, you talk about disproportions. That thing definitely does that to a high degree. One that balances extremely good. His neck rises really high out of his blade. Length of hip, I feel like, needs to be something that needs to be definitely looked at these days. That thing's got a long hip, a very functional hind leg, something that is going to just get better every day, just from just a feeder's perspective. I mean, one that just looks like he can spread on the entirety of his life and not have to worry about much on down the road. One that's very, 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 very good.
I really like this entire litter of barras. We've actually got a couple ahead of this one in the sale order. And my advice to everybody is don't pick those apart from comparing them to their litter mate deal. Don't say, well, that's the third best in the litter, because this is the kind of litter where the third best one shows up and wins somewhere. And I think this pig is extremely feedable. We'll keep rolling here. I think he's presented himself pretty well out here.
Coming in next, we've got lot 33. This is 232-1, light cross barra. This is a wham on a batitude.
Wham would be the boar that Dustin raised there, and it was one of those deals where I saw that boar as a baby online, and Dustin sent me a video. Obviously, really liked him, appreciated him. But when I decided to go ahead and turn him loose on some sows, is after the number of pigs that I saw out of him that I just thought looked like they would feed, and just numbers of them in that blue deal and that white deal. And I think as we talk about the Arkansas shows going to light cross division, that thing's wide open almost every year with just one that's heavy structured, square made, and good looking is going to get you right up in the very, very top end of that. And I think this one does that really well in terms of extra feature, great balance and shape, just one that looks like he's going to feed and continue to get better. I trust that batitude, Sal.
Boy, I'm telling you, I mean, just from aggressive feeder standpoint, I mean, he step in behind now when he twists his hawk in just a little bit, but man, I love that at this particular stage. One you can just spread on, I mean, throughout his entire life. I mean, that thing's got a big back for his stage. I mean, the way his foreloin comes out of the backside of his blade is very, very aggressive. Love that thing's look from the side. I mean, kind of reminds me of the Bear 84 stuff. Neat look, hard shape, but he's got bigger bones. One that's very, very elite in my mind. A nice pig here that, I mean, definitely could be very competitive on down the road.
Coming in next, we got lot 10. This will be a mate to the last pig, or the first pig there. This is 244-6 dark cross, zoned out on a hush puppy.
Show pony here. We got one that looks elite from the side. That thing has got a really, really neat head. Love that thing's skull shape and his jawline. I mean, you get on top of him for that size of a pig. That thing's block bladed. He's got a big back laid in him at a round rib cage. Kind of reminds me more or less of the Bear 52 stuff, but one that just looks elite to me. Very nice pig there. That's got a bright future.
Yeah, we got this set put together there at the farm, and when we started, and Aaron and I like to cuss and discuss some things, and it took us a minute for us to decide what was going to be our lead off, and there's a point in the time when the boss man just gets to choose. Well, this is the one Jeremy wanted to lead off with. We decided to go with the one Aaron wanted to lead off with, so I'll let him describe this one to you.
These guys, they wear me out, golly. No, I think this pig represents so much of what we're trying to do on a constant basis there at home. And in terms of keeping them immature, yet making them very clubby, I think this pig's length of body is absolutely ideal. But when you talk about length of body, you don't have to sacrifice length of neck. You don't have to sacrifice length of front here. And Chris mentioned earlier length of hip. Obviously, we can constantly are working on hip and rear leg, and they never seem to quite suit us. But this pig's awfully good. You're good. His litter mate came in earlier that I mentioned. Don't make the mistake of calling him the third best in the litter and forgetting him, because I think that third bear is awfully good as well.
Coming in next is lot 32, crossbred barra, 247-7. This is a fully loaded on a symmetry.
I think this one has mega feeding parts. I know Chris mentioned earlier on a pig that had the right indicators, and when I look at this one between his eyes, the width of his skull, the size of his tail, the rear dew claw spread, the size of his snout, just a few things that we look at and that we're trying to read, because we're trying to figure them out from 25, 35, 45, 55 pounds and help direct our guys in the right direction. And we have to rely on some of those indicators. We have to rely on pedigree. I think this one feeds extremely, extremely well and gets mega elite. I do think he is an extremely tall-shouldered bear that doesn't sacrifice roundness or rib. I think he's still got curvature of blade and curvature into his rib cage for being one that's still elevated about his front end.
Boy, I like looking at baby pigs like this. Hogs that are that stout skull and just have them kind of indicators, kind of like what Aaron said, are fun to feed for me. I mean, he's a little greener in his muscle shape and maybe not quite as deep in his twist or in his ham as what you'd like. But, I mean, that thing, just wait. I mean, that thing just looks like he's going to get better on down the road. I mean, the hogs that are that stout skulled and that big armed are just going to do nothing but get stouter on down the road. That one looks like a very, very fun one to feed, in my point of view.
We got lot 12 coming in next. Another crossbred bear, dark cross, 247-1. Another fully loaded symmetry. This is the mate to the one we just had.
This is a little chubbier, little more ready-looking litter mate that we sorted off in this pair. In this group, and maybe the little shorter-bodied. I think his bone's comparable. When you study this one, how you sort those, where you put your priorities, where you want to have as an endpoint. I actually think this one maybe has a little longer show window than the other one. I think the other one you're probably going to have to get right in October, certainly by early November, and be done with him. This one has a pretty long period that I think you can keep him showing. He's square, he's stout, he's got a good hip and rear leg. He still reads immature for one that's stout. I think just the way those fully loaded pigs look on our stuff, extremely excited about that.
Boy, another one. They just keep coming. One that's so long-necked and maybe not quite as stout-skulled as the one we just seen, but, I mean, he's long-necked, he's big-chested, and then everything kind of correlates from there back. He's got a round rib cage laid in him. He's got a big pin set, hip and hind legs on point. Another one I think would be extremely fun to feed. Just one you could push on down the line and not have to worry about getting outside theirself. One that's very unique, I think.
Lot 8 coming in next, 214-6. This is our Yorkshire entry here. This is a wham on a banner.
I got to watch him here. This is no Yorkshire. This will be a Yorkshire in Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma. He does not have a pedigree. This is a crossbred bear, this solid white, but sired by the wham boar there that Ham raised. And in our conversations with what to do in terms of lead off, I'd be lying if I said we didn't discuss this pig just because of his value. When you talk about one that's solid white in our deal, you're going to get in the Yorkshire deal, and you're going right to the top. And I'm telling you, just take care of this one. You just feed him every day, and you just watch him get better. That kind of look about his head, his neck, his front end, the way he places his hip, his hock, and flexibility there. Everything else will fall into place. I actually read the true shape and dimension, curvature of rib to be really good in this one. For one that's still immature about his body and his flesh, I think his curvature is really good. I'll let Chris comment on him. I know he's kind of been studying the white deal pretty hard.
Boy, I don't know why you don't leave the seeds in some of these things, Aaron. That one would definitely be extremely valuable, more valuable if he had his seeds left in him there. That thing's head shape and jawline is on point. His throat latch is tight. His neck's extremely long, and then you study his skeleton. I mean, the set to his blade, the angle to his front end is just perfect. Hip and hind leg is just, deadly. That thing looks, I've said it a million times. I'm probably sounding really redundant, but that thing looks like a feeder's dream to me. That thing's awfully, awfully good.
Coming in next is lot 1. This will be our leadoff for the Cobb firm. This is 248-6, dark cross, fully loaded in game. I'm going to let Chris start this one.
No way. We got a lot 1 here. That thing is awfully, awfully good. Everything we talked about and the others, that thing puts it all together. He's definitely more on point today in terms of upper back shape. The spread to his center body is very, very good. Everything we talked about as far as like front, the way his head shape is, the way his neck rises out of his blade, that thing has got an elite look. I definitely understand why he's lot 1.
I struggle reading this one because somebody left him in the sun a little too long, got a little blistered there. But no, I'll just be honest with anybody listening, anybody here. I think this is as good as they get. I think this is as good as we've put together, and I think this kind of show bearer is the kind that wins at all levels and at different stages. I mean, I think you can win a pig show with this one. I've said this to my guys, maybe never before in the time that I've been raising show pigs has weight at a show been as irrelevant as it is now. When you come in the ring with a pig that the guy in there likes, it doesn't matter if you're 220 and you're not quite there, if you're 290 and maybe you're a notch past, you have a chance to win. And I think this pig, regardless where he falls for your show, for your window, I think he's mega elite, maybe as good as anything we've sold this week, and that includes our online sale.
Coming in next is lot 31, crossbred Barra, dark cross, 227.2. This is an Apex cross with On the Money. I'll let Aaron start this one.
Well, I actually like a whole lot about this pig, and you know, when you guys start questioning yourself, if we get into that third round and you're still looking for one, I promise you there's pigs in the third round, not only in my offering but in everybody's group here, that's going to be extremely competitive. And I thought this pig was the right pig to kick off the third round, because I think he kind of matches some that we've brought. I mean, just in terms of the boxy build that he has, while still being square, while still being immature. I maybe talk immaturity too much, but I think it is so key and so important to you guys feeding them. It's one thing for us to make them look great today and you take them home and them not work, but I think the ones that are truly immature and truly heavy structured while being immature will be the ones that work for everybody and that work in the end when it matters, when they're handing out ribbons.
Just real quick note here on the board on this one. This is the Apex boar that we've got there at the farm. Those of you that don't know what that boar is, he's a full mate, full sib to the Barra that Chloe showed last year that wins Arkansas State Fair and wins the AYE. Aaron kept him back, and he's there at the farm and doing a really nice job for us there.
Once again, he kind of reminds me of the test. There we go. He reminds me of the one that I said looked like a Bear 52 line, just the way his neck rises. I mean, you watch him coming at you. That thing's got a bold chest. He's square to the ground, very round in his rib cage, and that kind of facilitates that extra shape he has up high, especially for a bear at this size. One that looks very feedable. I mean, one that you can definitely spread and just kind of grow up and just watch him mature as he goes on. And like Aaron said, I mean, one that I mean, you talk about immaturity. I mean, it's not a bad thing. I mean, you talk about one that's a little more immature and just a little greener right now. I mean, you can definitely think of test. Like I was saying, though, immaturity, I don't know how many times that I always fed the greener ones just because Dad would sell them higher. I mean, the ones that just looked a little fluffier and a little more ready that day. And I actually go ahead and beat them ones that looked more ready that day on down the road. Just study your lessons here and get in where you fit in with one that's really good built and very good looking, one that's looks like one that'd be very easy to feed.
Coming in next is lot 9, 244.2. This is another zoned out hush puppy.
Whoa, this kind of looks like lot 1. Oh, okay. Okay. One that I think if you left the seeds in that one would definitely be very valuable too. I mean, tail rises really high out of. I mean, he's got a color pattern and a paint job that's just dressed to kill too. I mean, I say that. I mean, he talked about something. In that fine of a degree, but I mean, anything that counts to get a second look is definitely something that's very, very good. That thing's got a neat look from the side. He's balanced. His hind leg works well. Very, very good bear. Look in here and don't miss out on this one on down the road. He's a little later on down the line, I guess. Is he in the second, third round?
Second round.
He's in the second round. That's a very good pig.
This is actually the third pig we're selling, actually. So that tells you a little bit of where I have him in my overall ranking. I think that top 3, 4, 5 in this set are extremely, extremely good. And I don't have much more to say. He's getting a little frustrated here. I just think, come talk to me. I tell you a lot of things I can back up about this pig, but he's awfully good. His mother was shown. She was never beaten in class, and I think that pig has a little bit of that same just everyday workable look.
There's a lot of 11 coming in here, so our last entry from Cobb. This is the cross gilt. If you guys know, it's like if you've ever worked with Aaron on a daily basis, it's like pulling teeth to get him to let a gilt leave the farm, and we had to go in and dig one out for him to bring one up here. But I feel like he let us sneak a good one out and brought one up here that we both really like.
Well, I certainly appreciate lots of things about this gilt, and one of the things, and I don't want to throw everybody off here, but one of the things I really like about this gilt is her extra length of body while still being really big ribbed and really big back, and not that she's too long body, but we get so hung up on being short bodied or the right. This one can be big. She can be 300 pounds and still look good, and I think that adds, that's because of her extra length, the extra length she has out of her front end, and I think she'll continue to mature very, very well. And now with AYE being a commercial gilt show, I think that's dead on for her, and I wouldn't roll her out as a market hog as well.
Just real quick there on the Cobb entries, you guys know, I mean, that family means the world to me, and to have them here just is it's just incredible. So super pumped they're here. Super glad Aaron let us get a great set out of there and bring up here, and we couldn't be more pleased to have them here with what they bought. And with that said, we got coming in next is the Fortner firm. They brought a really nice set of purebreds up here for us. I called Jake up and said, hey, I need some pures for this thing, and bring them up here for us, and he did, and he helped me out there. So appreciate him bringing those up here. Starting out right here in the ring, we've got 6 that we got on the whip right there. That is a Berkshire Barra special effect on an Indy. And then the other one we've got in here is lot 25. That's a Whataburg on a Whataburg.
Well, I really like this pair of Barras, and I certainly think it's obvious what special effect has done in the Berkshire deal. And actually, I could get up here and tell you guys this lot 6 really concerns me in a few areas. I mean, you ought to just maybe hesitate on this one only because my kids show Berkshire Barras, though. You know, only because of that. But no, I do. I think this one is so big bladed and so square in his chest. Matches it through his center body and his pin set. And I think if you read that one from his skull back to his tail into his rear dew claw, that pig will feed. And he's going to be he's stout today, and he's going to be stout on show day. I'll let Chris comment on him. I think that one's big time, not to take anything away from the other one.
Real quick, Jacob, let me know the 6 here. The mama of the 6 here raised the champion Burke down there at Houston. The guys, that is no small feat for those of you that have been around this show pig thing for a while. Like Aaron said, that thing there has got some special pieces for any breed, but you put it in the Berkshire breed, that thing's pretty good.
Which one's the Whataburg?
25.
Okay. Boy, the Dash 6, the Dash 6, the 6 paint brand there is one that's just so stout featured. I mean, mug and forearm, tail root, and hind leg. Reads like one that's just going to keep and just keep getting stouter. I mean, this looks like a feeder's dream. I mean, tail root and everything is very, very good. One that's just so round in his forerib. That's a nice pig there. And you talk about the Waterberg stuff. You get into that wedding night stuff. I mean, that's one that's just looks very exotic. He's got a longer hip probably. I mean, that thing's front end is laid in him right. Very, very round rib. That's a very nice pair of Berkshire Barrows that could definitely be extremely competitive on down the road.
Coming in next, we got the Fortner Duroc entries here. We'll have lot 24, which will be 1-3. That's a Bury My Bones on a DWI. And then we'll have lot 2-2 is lot 43. That's a Step Aside on a 3rd-degree burn.
Neat pair of reds here. They hit the ring and just, I mean, they kind of command your attention. This 24 in particular, one, I mean, his neck rises really high out of his blade. And for the red breed in particular, I mean, his blade's laid on his body right. Reaches with a lot of, reach out of his front end. Hip and hind legs designed right. Shapes on point for this particular size. One that's very, very nice. 43 is definitely the shorter body option. He's probably got a little more shape up high. He's real big pinned, a very conservative in his length of body, and very tall fronted. I mean, just one that looks like he could be fun on down the road. Once again, a very good pair of red ones there that excite me a lot.
Well, I agree with everything he said there, and I'll this lot 24, this Barra is one of those that the second he hits the ring, the second he hits the gate, and you read that hog's skull, the jaw, the elevated look, the head carriage that he has, that one is an elite Duroc show Barra. Where he will finish and feed on weight and where you guys can figure some of that out. We'll try to be figuring it out. It's what we're constantly doing. That's a really, really good pig, and I don't care what size he is or where he ends up showing. I don't care if it's Dallas, Tulsa, AYE, Arkansas State Fair. You get him all the way to North American Rule. That's a Duroc pig that competes. I think this other one is extremely, extremely good. Big ribbed. Extremely bold about his center body. Maybe not just quite as wild of a look when he comes in the gate, but guys, when he gets this one on the stick, and you think about the way we get these pigs drove, this one's rib cage, this one's center body, this one's back shape, true back shape is tremendous. I think an elite pair that he brought, certainly appreciate that.
Again, thank you to the Fortner firm there for bringing those up here. We really appreciate it. Those guys have been great to us the last few years and just, taking care of us and getting some pigs up here in this area and definitely wanted to take a chance and get them up here and have them get some pigs up here tonight, man. They didn't disappoint. They brought a really good set up here. All right, we're going to keep rolling here in the deal here. We're going to roll right into the next firm with the Hop Schulte firm. I think my kids are getting them rolling. Okay, we're going to start with lot 39. 39 is going to be a 49-2 crossbarra. Say it, never before.
I think another pig here that and I continue to talk about this, true rib shape and true curvature of the rib, and sometimes I think in baby pigs or even in market hog shows towards the end, I see guys confuse flesh and condition or belly shape with rib cage, and they're not the same. And I think this pig is one of the truly roundest bodied, roundest ribbed pigs that we've had come through the deal of any breed, any cross, it doesn't matter. I absolutely love this pig's rib cage, and I love the fact that he doesn't instill an extremely flexible package. And for one that's packing that much stuff, I still read this hog immature, and immaturity can come in different shapes and sizes, and that's what confuses people. Skinny is not always the best kind of immature. Sometimes thick, good ones that are built and that stay consistent in their maturity but only get better are the kind you want to feed, and that's what this one looks like to me.
we'll say it would be the boar where he's a say win in game. Keep him guessing, Dirty Secret. He's done an awesome job. We bred him to 40 sows this time, and we're actually putting him in the exchange here in this next week. But this one kind of represents what he's done. I mean, one just make him real clubby from the side, add a round rib cage in him, and still add bone and feature. I mean, you talk about the bottom side of this thing's pedigree. Let's see, never before, no regret. No regret. Behind that would be Big League Solid Monster Overdose Tsunami. That goes back to the bear I had back in 2009. There was bronze at OYE. Just a sow line that's been around for a long time that keeps getting it done. I've got a lot of faith in this pig and that sow. Last litter she had, I mean, she had a lot of pigs that went on, and I think she had 2 that made the sale there at OYE this time, and I mean, this was something that's been getting it done throughout the entirety. I mean, all the way through the back in 2009 to the bear I had that was 3rd overall. A lot of faith in this one. I guess just keep your hands high. One that's I think's got a bright future.
And that pig there will be a round 3 lead off for Hofschulte. Coming in next from Hofschulte is lot 19. This will be a 51-11 cross barra. It's an icon on a rock star cross man of the hour.
I really like this pedigree, and that's not biased. That's not blowing smoke. That's just based on what I've seen results. That's just based on the icon pigs that I've seen, the ones I've had at my house, the ones I've seen at pig sales, and then the results that I've seen with the Rockstar stuff. If you don't like this bear, we can't hardly get on the same page, because I think this one's extremely elite, and I don't give a crap whether he's solid black or purple. It don't matter to me, nor does it any judge you will ever show to that needs to be out there. And the guys hiring the judges in our state and most other states get the guys that need to be out there, and nobody's going to talk one time about him being solid black. They're going to talk about how stout-skulled he is, how big his forearm is, how good and true his front foot is, and how flexible his rear leg is. And yet then you get on top of him, and he just absolutely explodes and blows you away when you get on top of him with expression. I think this one's real neat.
The sow here actually be the mother of Garrett Todd's bear that wins a lot of jackpot shows. And I think he done something in a Muskogee Regional, but unfortunately he didn't get to show there at OYE in 2020. I thought that one was very elite. The sow's done an awesome job for us, an icon. I mean, he's just stamps an elite look, just like Next Intention. Probably opens them up just a little more in their chest than what you'd see in Next Intentions, and a round rib cage. He'll consistently put that in. A very good pig here, bid with confidence.
Coming in next for Hofschulte is lot 40. This will be 51-10, mate to the last bear we just had in here, another icon across the Rockstar Man of the Hour. This will be their second one in round 3.
Was this a litter mate? Yeah, I think this one is awfully good as well. Just another one that you love from a center body standpoint. You love when you get on top of this one. You talk about one that has shape coming truly right out of his blade into his loin edge. This one is extremely good there. That is a lot of natural, true muscle, and one that still has flexibility and comfort about his front end as well. And then you study him back through his hip, and that is a big, wide pin bear that is square with tons of market hog shape that still flexes and bends off his rear leg. I know Chris covered the pedigree there a little bit on the other one, and obviously that becomes extremely important. But when they look like this is the key. When they look like this pair does, I think you have to feel extremely confident feeding those moving forward.
Just like his litter mate, one that's got a lot of shape and a neat look. Just very maybe just a little more clubby about his neck and his head. He's a little tighter about his throat latch. Once again, that rock star man of honor, Bone Thug Sal, came from the Morgan firm. She's done an awesome job for us and never misses whenever she has a litter. This time she actually had 20. We kept a few gilts back. I think this is an awfully good litter of pigs. Icon clicked awfully well with this sow. Nice pig here.
All right, coming in next, we've got lots 20 and 21. These will both be Yorkshire gilts. They'll both be out of the 60 litter. This is dash 2 and dash 4. Dash 2 is going to be lot 20. Dash 4 will be lot 21. These are both awestruck on TikTok. Gabby's going to be on 21 right there, and Lennon will be on the 20.
I actually bought this sow from Olson on an online bred deal. The reason I bought her is because there's a dominator on the bottom side. We don't have much dominator in our Yorkshire program, and thought we'd add a little more into that. We actually didn't keep a gilt out of this deal, but we still got the sow. The awestruck deal worked awesome for us. We actually had champion at AYE last year that would have been an awestruck granddaughter. You just study them things. I mean, they look like crossbreds to me, just in terms of their length of body, their shape, their height, their shoulder, and the way they use their hind leg. I think is very, very good. I don't know, that's a very good pair of gilts. I'll let Aaron discuss them.
Well, I think as buyers, it's important to think about the different options and the things you can do here. Number one, obviously, in our state is the AYE Gilt Show, because if the Yorkshire Gilts are a whole lot better than this, they're pretty dang good, and somebody went and got a really, really good one to beat a pair that looks this good to me. Now, the only thing to think about here, to keep in mind, is that I don't think these are completely out of the question to show every weekend, even in a dirty deal. He said they looked like crosses, and I think you could certainly run them as Yorkshire classifiers and be just fine on a weekend basis or all the way to our state fair. Certainly a really nice pair of Yorkshire gilts that have big center bodies, a lot of shape. They're comfortable. They look like they'll feed. They look like they have great appetites. I like a lot about this pair.
Coming in next, we've got lot 22 and lot 41. Lot 22 is going to be Yorkshire Boar there. That Gabby's on, that's 58-3. That's going to be a hit stick on the next level. And then Lyndon is on lot 41, Yorkshire Gilt, 58-6 hit stick next level also.
Hit stick, whenever I was looking for Yorkshire boars this season or last season, he was definitely one that kind of came to my attention just because, of his look and an extension, something that we needed that was going to make him a little bigger. And I think that worked awfully well for us. The next level sow would be a litter mate to the Reserve Grand Gilt at Tulsa. That Kenzie Todd showed, and the Grand Overall Gilt at Woodward also, the same gilt that Kenzie showed. I think this gilt's awfully good. Her pin bones might be a little lower, but I think that's probably where her hind leg works as good as it does. One that it's probably going to be more of the big ring show gilt, I think, early. Probably not going to be quite as... Here we go. But one that's just awfully good built and looks like you could give her whatever you wanted. If you wanted to spread her, you're wanting to add more, make her grow up, I don't think you're gonna have any issues. And the boar there, I think you can do whatever you want. One that's very good built and very proportional. His neck comes really high out of his blade. One that's we kind of held back for this deal. I think could make an awfully good bear. I mean, big pin, square hocked. I mean, got all the muscle you could need. Definitely one that could compete with crossbreds as well.
Also on these Yorkshires here, I think, you still got, when you're thinking about where you're going to go with these purebred Yorkshires, and not only like Aaron said, you can run them in the state here, and these have plenty of muscle and shape to play, but you can also take these things that you've got Woodward you can go to. You got to have a classifier for out there if you're going to that show, so keep that on your radar. Lots of places we can use these purebred Yorkshires, and some at this quality you definitely need to look in and make sure you try to get a hold of.
I'm not going to hold them up very long. They're not liking this ring. They're not loving it. I will say I was going to say couldn't agree more with Nick on this bear. I mean, whether you are with Chris, okay, sorry. That you can obviously take that one to Woodward, put him in a Yorkshire pedigreed situation. You're dead on, but that one does not scare me to be competing against the solid white crosses. And then I guess I'm wondering why this gilt's below the other two. I don't know. I told this guy I thought he could judge a pig show pretty well, so I'm not going to get too hard on him. I really, really like this gilt. Maybe better than those first two, and they're awfully good. I think that tells that's the strength of this set, is how deep these Yorkshire pigs are here from the Hoff-Schulte firm.
Coming in next is Lot 4 from the Hoff-Schulte firm. This will be their lead off. This will be 59-8. Say it on a no regret.
Well, I think we've seen the depth that these guys have brought through their entire set, and then you think about the one they're going to lead off here with, and the one that they have extreme confidence in. I think this bear is just mega elite and extremely high quality, and maybe I use that term too much, but I do think we can all get hung up and stuck on single traits, and man, how big-legged is this one, and how wow is that one, and how this and that. And I think sometimes we forget that when they judge these things, when they weigh 220 to 280 pounds, they will take the totals, and the one that balances with the extremes will win 90% of the time, and that's the way I read this one. This guy is so balanced, he's so complete, he's so high quality, he's extremely comfortable in his skeleton, and he's still got the wow factor when you get on top of him, when you study him out of his front end. Extremely, extremely good on his front toes, shoulder shape. I think that one just gets really good, and I think for a bigger one in terms of weight, you can show that one for about as long as you want to without any trouble at all.
Really nice set that Hoff-Schulte brought to us there. Super glad those guys came down, and just if you haven't seen where their firm's been out here recently and the success they've had and how hot they've been in the show pig world, you kind of been under a rock. Those guys have been on fire, and their pigs have just showed it. They're doing a great job up there in Miami, and just again a great family, great group of people to have down here. Knowing that I'm sending my kid up there to Miami and knowing she's going to have a place to go look at show pigs and help these guys out every day, it sure makes it nice for me. So, again, great to have those guys down here, and super glad they're here. We're going to roll right on into our next group here, and we're going to roll into the Ham firm here. So we got Ham Livestock coming in the ring. This is a day that the three of us have been waiting for, because Ham's not here for us to slow us down on talking about his pigs. So we get to talk without him being here, and we get to talk about him. So we're looking forward to that. In the ring right now, we've got Ham's leadoff there at number 2. Over here on the Jimmy's on. This is 40-5, the wide belt. He is a Judgment Day on a rock star. We'll let Chris start him off. And then 35 is the one that Lyndon's on there. 35 is 36-2. That is a Believe in Me intentional on a rock star.
Boy, it's very good lead off there. And 2, that thing looks like a show pony. I mean, very stout about his skull. I mean, whenever I first seen that thing's got a stout forehead. You can see the wrinkles in his head. His ear set's tight. He looks like a clubby show pig, and it's nice that he has seeds. That thing looks like one that could definitely be very lucrative on down the road. Short back, tall fronted, got a very good hind leg. That's a nice pig to lead off with there that has a lot of unique pieces to definitely tie into there. The black one's probably a little bigger, got a little longer hip. The way he utilizes his hind leg is very, very good. Just one that just elevates just out of the top side of his shoulder is very, very good. One that you could spread on his entire life if you wanted to get really crazy with him and just push him. I don't think you'd have to worry about him getting outside of his skeleton. One I think would be very fun to feed.
Well, we were talking earlier about pigs and their indicators at this stage, and this lot 2 male pig just reads with the right indicators to me. He is, as Chris said, he is so right in terms of his skull. I'm not crazy on the zoo animal terms, but that one's still giraffe necked. I mean, he is wild about his front end. He is still really, really strong on his toes. He's big and square down his top. And I think in comparison here to the other bear, I think this or the other boar here, the black one, this lot 35, I think this one is a big-time feeding hog. When their hip and rump work like that and their rear leg flexes like that and their front shoulder lays in them that comfortable, I think that one feeds, and he reads extremely heavy skeleton to me. I think he's one you can gas on and go in full and fresh and whip up on them pretty good when they're when the competition was talking about something else, and you just come in with one that's fresh and extremely, extremely correct. I think a really good pair to start off the ham set.
Coming in next for ham will be lot 13 and 15. Lot 13 is 38-7. That's a static on a solo, which would be Wham's mom. And then lot 15 is 31-9. It's actually listed as 35-9 in the catalog, but Dustin can't read ear notches, so we had to fix it once it got here. So that is 31-9. That's a banner cross with solo Wham's mom. Lyndon is on the 13. Jimmy is on the 15 over here. The 15 is solid white. The 13 will need a little work if you're going to make it a Yorkshire.
I'm struggling seeing these lot numbers, Jeremy. Lyndon is on 13. Okay. And I think the biggest thing to think about here is even if you're not into to trying to make this one a solid white one. We here in our state, we certainly have the light cross division, and that one's competitive. That is a good-looking feeding pig that looks like he gets better every day. He is so elite looking in his head carriage and his hip and rump, the way he's made. He's still short-bodied. He's certainly one we could call skinnier, but that pig is not going to stay skinny, not in anything that I know about what those will do and the way that'll feed. And I think the gilt here is just awfully, awfully good. I think she's one you can run every weekend and be competitive because she's stout now. She looks like she's going to be stout now down the road. Just extremely, extremely good, extremely flexible for one that has that much bone and that much foot. Love how she bends and goes out of her rear leg. I think a really nice pair of white ones, light cross, York, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, light cross, dark. I mean, light cross, York, whatever you want to do. I mean, dark, I don't think it really matters. I think those are things are bomb diggity. That little bear there, I think from the side, I mean, it's just one that just proportions so well. He's long-necked. He's got a neat head. I mean, one that just looks like he's going to just keep getting stouter every day. His arm reads very, very stout. His tail's big. One, like I said, indicators read right. I mean, bid with confidence on that one. Now, the gilt, I probably don't need to talk much about that gilt because that looks like one that I might want to try to raise my hand on. One that's just so stout skulled. Got a neat jaw and a tight throat latch, and the way her foreloin comes out of the backside of her blade's good, and yet she's got just crazy shape to her blade. That thing looks very, very exotic. One that looks very expensive to me. A very neat pair.
So we got 16 and 37 coming in the ring for Ham here. 16 is 32-5 cross barrel to the extreme on a never before. And 35 is 36-2 cross barrel Believe in Me Intentional Rock Star. Millie is on 16. Chloe is on 35.
A little bigger pair here, but definitely, their skeletons are definitely on point. Skulls are maybe just a little bit stouter than what we've seen here, but that's 16. I mean, that thing's skull shape's on point, muzzle stout, jaws big, throat latch is right. Definitely looks like one that could definitely compete at a very, very high level. Likewise with the one here that I guess the young ladies here on, what is that, 31? 32, 36. I mean, likewise. I mean, real stout-headed. Maybe one that you could probably push on just a little harder, and he definitely could definitely see some results on down the road. One that's nice. Definitely very good in his lower joints.
Well, just another pair here from Dustin that have immense quality and just the way their rib cage is laid in them, still have an immature turn and shape to the rib. For stout skulled ones that read with some rugged kind of feature, I still read them to both be immature and have the ability to continue to get better. They are the right length of body, and I wouldn't call that shorter. I wouldn't call that long. It's just proportional, and it's just appropriate, and it's just right, in my opinion. I think a really nice pair. You guys keep studying on those there in the back of the barn again tomorrow before we sell those.
Got Ham's last pair coming in here. We got lot 14 and lot 36. Lot 14 is 32-1 cross barrel to the extreme, never before, and 36 is the mate, 32-7 to the extreme, never before. Cross. Did Ham bring a gilt? Yep, cross gilt. Millie is on 14 right there, and Chloe will be on 36. And they're going to switch. Chloe's on 14, Millie's on 36.
Well, I just told Jeremy as they're bringing them in here, and we're looking with you guys, and we're studying them kind of as they come in and maybe getting our first look. I haven't, obviously I saw them in the pens, but I haven't seen them out, and like most of the hogs Dustin puts together, when you get them out and you get them on the move and you get them on the stick, they just their overall value increases because of the presence, because of the design and the completeness that they're put together with. I really like this lot 14 pig. I mean, he is elite through his center body. Another one that's great in his rib cage, great about his head and neck. Really, really like that one's front toes and the way he hits the ground. Big square rump. He's packing a lot of muscle, but he is still flexible. And I think just a really elegant female that's tall-shouldered, extended out of her front end, good in her hip and rear leg. I think a really nice pair.
Boy, just study the pedigree here, and I think you definitely want to raise your hand to the extreme. That's the boar that Mark Gray sold to Laird there that being tricked out on, quite frankly, and No Stranger's Mother, and then back on Never Before, which them Never Before daughters are just lights out as far as making them elite ones. You can definitely tell this pair is awfully elite. The Barrow's one, there's a little different. I got little differences, I guess, and from a feeding perspective, the gilt's a little greener. The Barrow's probably a little got a little more shape up high. You might want to manage them things just a little bit different, but their feet and legs are definitely on point. Pedigree is definitely dressed to kill, and them things look like they got very, very elite pieces, something that could be elite on down the road.
That concludes the Ham livestock entries there, and we talk about this sale and the people that we've invited to it, and if we don't talk about Dustin and him not being here, it just wouldn't be a sale. Yeah, that dude, if you hadn't kept up with him and what he's been doing down there in Oklahoma, and the success he's had and how hot he is, and we put that dude up there with anybody that comes to getting one right and getting one ready, just as good as there is. And again, solid human being, great person. We love him and Jen and the baby Rain there. And he'll be here later tonight. He had an obligation he had to be at. He had to go to a graduation for one of the kids that showed for him for years. Again, just showing you the type of human being that guy is, making sure he's where he's supposed to be and still getting everything where he needs to be at. Just glad to have him here, and glad Ham Livestock came up and joined us this year. And we're going to move right on into our last breeder here. This will be the Lester Firm. We're going to start here. Austin was running a little bit behind today, and he got us these pigs, but we're just glad he got them up here for us. Thanks to Luke Foster for getting those brought up here for us and getting them in here on time. We're going to run through these. Again, they don't have back numbers, so kind of bear with us. We're going to get some notches here, and we'll still get through these things here. Okay. This is 18-1. This will be a Chester appearing Barra, and the Body Slam Tricked Out is what the pedigree reads on that. So Chester appearing Barra here, Body Slam Tricked Out, 18-1.
Obviously, got the pedigree a little mixed up there, but that thing's for a Chester Barra. I mean, he's a little tight. Don't get me wrong, but I mean his skeleton for this breed is very, very good. The way his neck. It ties out of his blade, and in this breed, it's so hard to get their front end assembly right, and that thing's blade looks to lay on his body, I mean, perfectly, is set to his knees, very, very good, hip and hind legs on point. And I love how these things, I mean, just rib cages, I mean, this particular breed, how the rib cages are so big. That thing's rib cage is definitely one that follows suit to that breed. His pin set's big, hind legs good. That's one that's got a bright future.
Well, we're going to keep rolling here. We got more of these little guys to get through, but I think this pig's really good. I mean, what all you can do with him, where you can go with him. I think obviously our state, obviously anywhere in the Southwest where you just classify them and show them, you can go be competitive with this one, and I don't care if he has a pedigree or not. This is an elite show pig. He'd be elite if you put his ears up and put a belt on him. I think he's still a pretty good pig.
All right, coming in next, we've got 22-2 and 22-1. These are both crossbred bears. These are Judgment Day on Tricked Out. Lizzie is the wide belt here is going to be 22-1. The more chromed up one is 22-2.
Well, I think if you know anything about the way show pigs ought to look, and they ought to look at this stage and the way they're going to feed, you're going to like this pair, and you're going to like what they do. The one that's still intact, I think this pig is so stout. I think he reads so right in his head and his jaw, skull makeup, his length of hip and rump is tremendous. That pig's got a big square back leg, and for studying pigs this size, you got to really appreciate the true rib, the curvature to the center part of their body. I think they're both really good. I think that one that's intact is major league good when it's all said and done. And I don't know where he fits in the lineup, but he's pretty high up for me, I would think, over the entire group, the entire set here.
Yeah, just to reiterate what Aaron had said there, that one that's intact has definitely got them manly features. The way he utilizes his hind leg is very good. I guess the one that's got the striped face probably has just a little more punch right there to the center portion of his body. The way his tail rises out of the top of his hip is very good. You're just kind of nitpicking there between that pair. I mean, there's a little bit of muscle differences, but man, you study that one skeleton. I love looking at pigs that are this size. I sit in the barn all day, every day, and study these things that are this size, and something that is that size and has that kind of skull shape and still utilizes, I mean, his joints and every angle of his skeleton the way he does. I think that's a very good pig. I'm not taking anything away from the stripe-faced one. I think that one's one that could definitely make a good bear on down the road, but I think that one that's intact is awfully good.
All right, coming in next, still out of the Lester firm, we've got
They're not pures, are they?
All right, we're back. So we got the Lester spots here. These will both be Amplify on Mary. I'm not sure what Mary is. I'm sure it's a sow there at Austin's, but Amplify on the top side. We've got a barrow and a gilt. Little gilt's the whiter colored one. The barrow is the darker colored one there. So 19.2 and 19.1 spot entries from Lester.
Boy, this Amplified deal I know has been really good. I mean, just one that Amplify has always been one that'll definitely inject a lot of shape and look. I mean, you can definitely tell the sow here is definitely stood her ground as far as like her lower joints and her skeleton. That thing, I mean, both those are very, very good. And their front end assembly and the way they move off their rear leg, I think that's a neat pair of spots that definitely got a very, very bright future on down the line.
All right, coming in, we got lot 30. This will be lot 30. This is 24-2 crossbred barra. This is a mic drop on a tricked out.
Well, Mike Drop is a boar there at our place. That's a backdrop son. I think backdrop's kind of obviously a household name in the show pig world right now, and what he was able to do, what he's been able to do. And I think this pig's got some extremely good feeding pieces. You talk about one that's stout skulled and still long necked. He is extremely extended shoulder forward while being stout. He is square in his hip and his rump. He's comfortable. He's got dimension and shape and bone. I think just an easy feeding, good feeding one that's going to be pretty predictable on what he's going to be and how he's going to feed.
All right, we got 18-2 and 18-1 coming in here. Crossbred barras, 18-2 and 18-1. 18-2 is the one that Lizzie's on right now. Nope, far one over there. That is going to be lot 7. That will be Lester's leadoff. That's a body slam on a tricked out. And then, yeah, I did. Yeah, and then 18-1 is lot 46. That's also a body slam tricked out.
I'm not sure who all is tracking here, but I know we called the Chester appearing one an 18 liter, and that would not be the case. So make sure that that he'll be easy to identify tomorrow. Make sure you do identify him and his lot number, and Jeremy maybe has it right here, because I think that Chester pig is awfully good and worth making sure we get him right there. I think this pair is extremely, extremely good, and I obviously got a lot of experience with Austin and trust his evaluation of what pigs are going to do and what his sows are going to do, and I was hoping to maybe give him a hard time about his lineup or what he did, but I can't argue with this 18-2 thing leading it off, because he looks big time good to me in the way he's made. Another one that's got the stoutness of skull, but he's still immature. He's still extremely long neck, great blade and forearm, tremendous in his hip and rump. And I think the litter mate there is just a spitting image in terms of silhouette and design, maybe just not quite as rugged, but gosh almighty, is that one ever put together with awesome rib cage, awesome shape, and the kind of design that never goes out of style.
Boy, this pedigree makes sense. Body slam came from Moyer back on a tricked out sow. adding power and then adding look. I mean, you can definitely tell that's what is here. I think both these barrows are awfully good. So stout skull. I mean, they're the feeder's dream. I mean, if you're wanting to look in on something that's going to be, I mean, something you can't mess up. These look like that kind. One, I mean, they're so good built and got a good hip and hind leg and something you could just push throughout the entirety of their life. Very good pair here. Bid with confidence.
All right, so we got the Chester-ish, we're going to call it, figured out. He's going to be 21-1. That will be lot 27, and he is a track record, which track record is a land race boar at Premium Blend crossed with a tricked out sow. So that is, again, track record cross tricked out, and the white down-eared pigs, what we're going to go with, is 21-1, lot 27. All right, so we got 18-4 is the one going back this way right here, and then 16-8 is the one Lizzie's on now. 16-8 is lot 28. Hear me now, stay classy. And 18-4 is the body slam tricked out. That will be lot 29. So lot 29 is the narrow belt, and Lizzie is on lot 28 right there.
Obviously, we got some different pedigrees here. This gilt right here, though, she just hit, that's going to the left. One that's just got just a neat look, a very clubby look about her. She's got a stout head, a really wide chest, and for how big-chested she is, her front end assembly still on point. Obviously, one that's a little smaller, but one that definitely looks like something that's going to get extremely stout. You see that one at about 300 pounds, and that thing's got to be a burly beast. She's got hairy, I mean, just really dense hair. Her bones are hairy. That thing looks very clubby to me. The thin belted one's obviously one that's probably a little neater looking. Her neck rises a little higher at her blade, but also her jaw is probably not quite as stout, but her hip and hind leg is on point. Definitely one that could, one you could feed, stouten up, one you could get wild with.
I think extremely nice pair, and they don't look just exactly alike as Chris described them there. I think dead on to a T. But I think both of them have a lot of quality and both of them have a lot of value. I think the 18-liter gilt, you probably project her a little more to one you can feed on and take on and show a little earlier. Commercial gilt, market hog, it doesn't really matter. She's got a good look to her, and I think this 16-8 has a breeding hog look to her. I mean, she's got extra heavy bones and extra bold skeleton, and yet she still has bend and flexibility. And whether you're wanting to show one, whether you want to breed one, that one is a high value kind of female, it looks like to me.
All right, guys, that's all the lots we've got for tonight. I want to say again, thank you to all the breeders for coming out. Thank you to Tanny LeBlanc and Chad Turners for coming up from Louisiana and cooking crawfish for us tonight. Guys, we're going to be hanging around here. We'll be around here for probably another hour and a half. I know the breeders got to feed and water. Take your time, go back, go through them, get them up and look at them. Chloe just set some sheets over here on the chair. If you need to get you a sheet, sale order there. It's got everything on it. Grab one of those. Again, go back, look through them. Get with any of these breeders. You got questions on anything. Thank you guys for all coming out. You guys on the internet, thank you for tuning in. And again, hope we see everybody tomorrow here in the seats and come out, or come in the seats or get online, and let's have a good sale tomorrow. Thank you guys.